Hi, welcome to Home-Gardenbook. I want to take a few minutes to go over what is probably the main function of Home-Gardenbook, and that is online journaling. Garden journaling is a very personal matter for most gardeners. Uh, Most gardeners have different documentation needs, and they use different methods to keep track of things in their garden. Some jot down figures and dates on pieces of paper and throw them in a cigar box. Some people use index cards in a card box. Some people buy a composition book and keep track like that. Some people keep track on spreadsheets, computer spreadsheets, and those are quite nice as well because they can calculate all sorts of things, including charts, and help you keep track of yield. Uh, some folks buy fancy online garden journals, or they buy them online, paper journals, and they're pre-formatted, and they ask you a lot of information about your garden that you might not have even thought that you would need to jot down, but you probably do, and they're really good, and they kind of drive the gardening experience. Online gardening journal has a tremendous advantage as well, and that is that you can share your individual post, or you can share your entire journal with people throughout the world. A problem that you have, or a solution you found that you note in your journal, may solicit help or may solve someone else's problem a half a world away. You have control online of what entries, or if you want the entire journal to be public or private. Um, It's a great way to collaborate and meet other gardeners who search and perhaps find the same terms that you've mentioned in your journal. I can't say that it's superior to the paper journals. In fact, I recommend that you keep both. If you don't want to duplicate your efforts and you do keep it online, I recommend, and there's a video in the help section on how to print out your garden journal. I recommend you do that so you have a hard copy as well. So there are two methods in Home-Gardenbook for posting journals. One of them we'll just call the journal post method, and the other we'll call the journal page method. They both have advantages and they both have disadvantages. Today we're only going to cover one, and this is the one that will probably be the most common, and it's the journal function on the top menu bar, the journal post method. If you look on the blue menu bar, you'll see activities and journals. Well, first you'll want to log into me. Then you look on your blue bar, you'll see activities and journals. You're going to click on journals. It's going to take you to a page and it says all site journals, and there's a tab, all, mine, and friends. It's kind of self-explanatory. All are all of the journal entries that have been posted by all of the members that made them public. Friends would be all the journal entries that have been posted by people that you have friended or who have friended you. And mine, well, mine would be your actual journal. So let's make a journal post just as an example. I'm going to plant some fictitious beets. Title, planted beets. Underneath excerpt is very important because in your online journal, in this method, when you're scanning down, only the title and the excerpt lines will be visible. The main body won't be unless you click on it and choose it. And you may not want to choose it, or you may not want to click on it. And so the excerpt and the title together will help you decide whether you want to click on it. Planted Detroit red beets in back 4 rows. Now, down to the body, you'll want to give a little more detail. This is the actual post. You might want to repeat some of it. Planted Detroit red beet seedlings from Bob's nursery. Had great luck last year. typos, with Bob's Plants. Planted in sandy soil with added wood ash in back 4 rows of yard garden, in case you have 2 gardens. Beets should take about 60 days to mature. Fertilize in 2 weeks with 1313. I'm a terrible typist. Now, let's say we might like to have a picture of those seedlings that we planted. So we could go up here where it says embed content, and if we haven't already uploaded a picture of the beets to the Home-Gardenbook website, we can go upload a file. Then we can go to the Browse button. It should open a window to our hard drive or to any other drives or SD cards attached, or thumb drives, or anything else, any medium where we might have them. It does, and we just happen to open to a picture of Detroit red beets. So we'll click on it. Now, down here, we've already had a title for the post. Title here is going to actually be the caption if this picture appears anywhere else, if we want to put it in a photo album or something. Detroit red beets. We probably don't need a description. Tags, we're going to discuss tags in a little bit, but let's put beets. Access to the picture, we can leave it public if you want. We also have the option to keep it private, restrict it to friends, or restrict it to the logged in members of the Home-Gardenbook. Now, the picture is there. We can choose it, and voila. But maybe we don't like the way it's formatted, so we can go click twice, come down here to alignment, and we can set it over to the right. There, that looks a little better. Now we'll come down to tags. Tags are keywords. You can search this entire site from the search box on most every screen, and it will pull up any mention of any word in any post, in any garden event, in any message board, in any discussion, or any user group, as long as those are marked public. Tags are keywords that appear down in a thing called a tag cloud, and they generally appear progressively, or they may be reversed as to how often they have been mentioned, how many times that tag has been taken. Think of trending on Twitter. So we're not going to go crazy. We're just going to put beets as a tag. Next option would be comments. Generally, we're probably going to want to leave the comment section on, self-explanatory. If somebody reads your journal post, assuming you've made the journal post open to the public, friends, or logged in users, and maybe they want to make a comment, this may be the best way for them to get in touch with you. Instead of sending you a message, they may just want to say, hey, you should try trifecta on this. I think that's a M.I. Gardner fertilizer. Or you should try something else, or I would watch out for something, or I would dust with this, or whatever. So you may want to leave it on. Now, you may also want to put it off because let's say that you're not an organic farmer, that you like to use chemical fertilizers like the aforementioned 13-13-13. You might get some gruff from folks who are organic gardeners because they feel strongly about it. or maybe you're going to use some 7 dust and you're really going to probably get some gruff then. So you might want to leave the comments off if you honestly just don't want to hear it. But let's leave them on. Access. This is the most important button. Your options are private, self-explanatory, only you can read the post. Friends, only people who have friended you or who you have friended can read it. Logged in users, again, only people who have logged in and are members of Home-Gardenbook. Public would be anybody that browsed the site. Right now that option is available for anyone from the public. However, in the future I think we're going to change it so that you have to be a member of the group to browse through the website. Think of Facebook groups, public or private. So we're going to go right now with public. And status we're going to leave as published. There is an option to use draft. Let's say you were sitting here and you thought, I don't remember the name of those beets. And we already put it there, but let's say you didn't remember. I'm going to go out and look on the box or on the slip. So you might, in order not to leave it just sitting, or you don't want to leave your computer open, you might save it. Or you might say, I'm going to ask Bob tomorrow, what were those beets? And you're just going to save it as a draft. But since you can go back and edit, generally just leave it as published. Come down here and hit save. And you have published a journal. If you go back and a screen, you'll see it's now at the top of your journal. And unfortunately, there is no way yet to sort this reverse order. We can't go from least recent to most recent. In the page post method, we actually can. But in this method, we can't yet. Maybe we'll change that in the future. Now, remember we planted them today, January the 2nd. Let's say we might want to go over and make a garden calendar. We'll go over to the right under More, Garden Calendar, Add Event, Title, Planted 24, Detroit, Red Beets. Venue, it's up to you. You can put a state if you want, where you are, your city. You can just put your location at home, your backyard. It's a little bit of a generic label. I'm just going to put Baton Rouge. Whoops, not like that. Baton Rouge backyard garden. Anybody who later scans or looks at your post, they may want to see the venue right off to see if you did this in containers or how. Description, just planted 24. Red Detroit beets. Now this is optional. You may not want to use the calendar. Tag, why not? We'll just go with beets again. Now, schedule, I think it only took us the 1 day to do it, so we'll go all day. We don't need a reminder that we set the beets out or we planted them because they're already set. Read access, we can leave it public. We can change it to private, friends, or logged in users. Same thing. We're going to save it. There. Now, since we added that, and we know that the beets should mature in about 60 days. We might know that from the planting guide, or we might know it from the back of a seed pack, or Bob might have told us. We can go to Add Event. Red beets due to mature. Venue, we can just put the same thing if we want. Baton Rouge. Backyard description. Check. Red beets in back 4 rows. Tags. Beets. All day event. Again, if it were a range of days, we could enter a range of days, but it's going to be a specific day. So let's take a look at our calendar. Today's the 2nd. We want to go 60 days, so we know that's going to be, it would be nice if we just had a little calculator to do it, but we can figure February 2nd, March the 2nd. About March the 2nd, we should be looking to pick some beets. And let's put a reminder here to remind us, 7 days before March the 2nd, we should get an email if we've registered with an email that's valid. You'll also get a message on your profile page. Read access, we'll leave it public, we'll save it. Now we've added that event. Let's say we want to fertilize in 14 days. Or did I say 7 days? I don't remember, but I'm not going to go back. It's a sample anyway. We could go over here if we wanted. Again, it's optional. We could go to task. This is kind of like separate, sort of an assignment reminder. And say we're going to add a task. And we want to fertilize beets with 13, 13, 13. Honestly, don't know if that's what you would use for beets. All right, and we say 14 days from now, so that's going to be on the 16th. There we go. And type, we can just leave it blank. I'll probably change those options. Status, we've just opened our ticket. Worker, we're going to do it ourselves. We're not going to assign it to anybody else. We're not doing a joint project with anyone. And description, red beets in back 4 rows need fertilizing. You might want to put 13, 13, 13. And tags, why not, beets. Now read access. We probably don't want the public, unless there's somebody else involved helping us, unless we're doing something with someone else. We really don't want them reading it, so we'll set it to private. We definitely don't want them writing in it, again, unless there would be a friend or someone that was doing the task. And we will save it. So we've made a task, we've set it on our calendar. We didn't have to do that. We've had a journal entry, but we're set up now. Hopefully we will be able to remember to fertilize our beets and to check them for maturity. And thank you very much. I hope you understood. I'm sorry I was rambling so much, and next time we'll go over the page post method. So happy gardening.